Yeah.
Now let's talk a little bit about the Battle of Addams.
Da-da-da-dum.
So, Daniel, somehow you and I had both never actually seen the 1991 Addams Family movie.
No, I actually vaguely remember when it came out. Like seeing the commercials for it, and now I was familiar with the old TV series, but which I never watched.
I had seen a few episodes of the Saturday morning cartoon that came out of this movie.
Yeah. Huh. But no, but yeah, no, it didn't really interest me all that much. I think it was just kind of, you know, I think my parent, I don't think it would have been a movie my parents would have taken me to see because I don't think they were really big on the Addams Family.
Yeah, definitely not. So this based on the 1950s comic strip, and that has gone through various TV and movie adaptations since then.
Yes.
Addams Family is a very simple concept. What if you had a spooky family that was opposite?
Yeah. Yeah, basically everything that we would find appalling and awful, they think is just amazing and wonderful, and
Just a delight.
just a delight. Yes, yeah, yes. Having Pugsley having an apple in his mouth, and Wednesday shooting a crossbow at him, perfectly normal.
Yep, absolutely normal.
Yeah,
Um, uh, the Mr. Adams, what's his name again?
Gomez.
Gomez. Yeah, he greets his lawyer coming in with by fighting him with a saber. So
Yeah,
like doesn't see the problem with it. Um, he starts every day by golfing and hitting a bunch of balls at the nearby judge's house, and he doesn't understand why the judge would be unhappy that the ball had gone through his window. Oh, you can keep that one. I have a whole bucket.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, they talk about like like how much they're just just really twisted stuff, and they make like weird food, and she like
Yeah,
there's at one point Morticia, the wife, the mom, she tells Wednesday, play with your food.
yeah, yeah. Because again, that's the joke. Everything is opposite.
Yeah.
And how funny you find the movie, I think, is going to depend on how much you enjoy the macabre just on its own,
Yeah.
but also how much that one joke really appeals to you.
Yes, because they milked that joke for all it's worth in this movie.
Yeah, and there's a few scenes where it really works well, but I'll admit that for me, it kind of was stale.
Yeah. I freely admit I have a little bit of a twisted sense of humor, so I kind of got a lot of it, but yeah, I can see why it would get a little, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I can definitely see where if you were a screenwriter for this one, you're like, how the heck do I write a script for this?
Yeah.
Because they've got the one joke, reverse everything,
Yeah.
but also it was based on a bunch of one panel 1950s comics and a 50s sitcom. How do you stretch that out into a movie? You got to have some sort of character arc and some sort of rising and falling action and all the other good stuff,
Yes. Yeah.
and some conflict and some villains for that matter.
Yeah. Right. So um, so the movie starts off where Gomez's brother, Fester, Uncle Fester, as he's affectionately referred to, who's he's played by Christopher Lloyd. He's been missing for 25 years. They don't know where he is, or what happened to him. And every year on whatever, I think it was like the day he disappeared, they have a séance to try to bring him back. And so after Gomez meets with his lawyer, who's a real huckster, his lawyer has is in deep with a loan shark, and she has her son there, and of course her son is the spitting image of Fester Adams, and so they concoct the scheme where during the seance, they have Fester show up. Um,
Fester.
yeah, Fester, and so the whole thing is that they're trying to get to the Addams fortune, which Gomez has in the vaults deep below the mansion. It's a very this very intricate system of tunnels and underground river and everything, and so they're trying to get to this fortune by any way they can, but of course uh, the Fester, not Fester, finds himself becoming more and more enthralled with the family and their quirky dynamics, and of course, Fester and Gomez, trying to reconcile, for their, you know, with what happened in the past and all that.
Yep. So as far as performances go here, Christopher Lloyd as Uncle Fester is actually I thought he was a highlight to the movie for me.
Yeah.
I had honestly seen the character many times. I had never realized it was Christopher.
I think I kind of knew it was him, but but it was kind of one of those like, oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
Early on, especially when he's nervous about being around the family and being found out, he brings this real nervous, scared energy to the performance. I likened it to like a hairless cat or a little chihuahua shivering there, like just afraid of the world.
yeah, yeah. Because whenever Gomez would start ask him about the past, and they're like talk about stuff, and he'd be like, yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Then he would guess wrong. It's like, what? No, we didn't do that. We did this.
yeah, yeah. Like you had your first cigar. No, I had my first cigar when I was 5.
Mother insisted.
Yes.
You also have the late Raul Julia as Gomez.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I had always heard how masterful this performance was, and he was fine. It was probably one of those
Mm.
situations where I just got overhyped because of years of hearing about it.
Yeah. I think his performance in Street Fighter was better than this.
Yes, agreed. But he's still hamming it up and having fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and you've got Angelica Houston as Morticia Adams, and they have Gomez and Morticia have a very weird relationship.
They might be the horniest characters in children's media.
Yeah,
Like they ended up making out in the middle of a charity auction with everybody watching.
yeah. Seriously, oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. Um, and then of course you have a very young Christina Ricci playing Wednesday,
Hmm.
um, which I think was probably the first everybody's first kind of or like her first. I don't know if it was her first movie or one of her first movies. That
See, I thought you were going to say she was everybody's childhood crush, which I think is,
probably true. Yeah,
at the very least, if you're the type to like goth girls, then
yeah. um, and I don't know who played. I don't know the kid who played Pugsley, or
he's so this movie is not very much about Wednesday, but it's definitely not about Pugsley.
no, no,
He, he
Pugs.
he is window dressing and is there for Wednesday to do things too.
Yes, yeah. I will say the guy that got to play Lurch looked a lot like the guy who played him in the TV show.
Yeah, man, he is not a character, but he is like a interesting part of the window dressing.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, the guy who played him in the TV show, God, I can't remember his name. I want to say his last name was Cassidy.
Mhm,
Um, or maybe I might be thinking of somebody else, but he was in he was also in an episode of Star Trek.
mhm.
Um, he played a robot called Rock, and he scared the you know what out of me when I was like 5 or 6 when I watched that episode because his introduction in the show is he jumps out of a wall, like a false wall, and he attacks Kirk. Just scared me to you know what.
What was the name of the character again?
Rock with ROC.
That okay? So when I look that up really quickly, I get the episode "What Are Little Girls Made Of?" Is that the?
That's the one. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'd seen that episode. I didn't remember there being a robot in it.
Well, he doesn't look like a robot, really.
Oh, okay. Oh, Rook. Okay.
Ruck. Okay, I don't know. I couldn't. But yeah, and
Okay, no, I could see where that would scare you.
yeah.
Creepy looking dude. Now,
Oh yeah.
For those watching at home,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a spooky dude.
Yes.
He's made to be a Frankenstein monster's butler.
Yeah. um, but uh, uh, but yeah. Although what was interesting was the same actor who played Cousin Id in the movie was also in the TV show. It's the same guy,
Oh, the hairy guy.
the hairy guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but but yeah. So as the movie progresses, like Fester, they're Fester, not Fester. Uh, he's
Goes
getting a lot
native.
of what was that?
He goes native.
He goes native. Yeah, he goes native, much to his mother's chagrin. And one of the things he does is I don't know if I want to. I don't know if I should mention this bit or not because it was the funny. It was both of us thought was the funniest part of the movie.
You know what? It's a 30-year-old movie. It, if you don't want to get spoiled on this, skip ahead a bit. But yeah, this is definitely the best part.
Yeah. So the best part of the movie was Fester helps Pugsley and Wednesday doing this. They're doing a school play, and the two of them are reenacting a scene from Shakespeare, and they come up with these like contraption things where like when they get cut with the swords, they get like a bunch of fake blood spewing out of them, and like Pugsley gets his arm cut off, and it's just gushing blood everywhere,
All over the audience.
all over the audience.
and like all the normal people in the audience are just looking horror. Okay, so earlier you'd had like an ordinary kids musical performance, and you had Gomez and Morticia just looking bored as all could be.
Yeah.
And then their little kids go up there and they are cutting each other open with their swords, and they're just, oh, bravo, bravo, as everybody just looks on in stunned, blood-covered horror.
Yeah. That was hilarious. Yeah. Just like I think what just killed me was it just kept gushing out and going.
Like that was the edge where like that would have kept me more entertained through the movie, but
yeah.
Let's see here. There was another thing I thought I wanted to bring up. I don't think we necessarily need to spoil the end of the movie just because it's it's a fairly predictable ending.
Yeah, a common problem with a lot of comedies like this. I think I've said this many times before, but the climax always gets really silly and over the top. And that was certainly the case with this one. It was just like, okay, that's a little much, because they feel like they have to take the humor that they've done and just totally crank it up to 11, and it just like, okay, yeah, dial it back a little.
Yeah, this thing was already crazy enough that they really had to turn it to 11 to differentiate it.
Yeah.
Now, as far as like the production values, first off, whoever wrote that 1991 remix of the Addams Family theme for the ending should have been drug out and shot.
Well, do you know who sang that?
I know I don't.
MC Hammer.
Oh. Don't touch this.
Yeah.
But as soon as that started, I was like, okay, nope, we're done here. Click, click, turn it off.
Yeah.
Now, I would say like the probably the biggest strength of this thing is that the house is almost a character too, to use the overused phrase,
Yeah, oh, yeah, yeah,
because it's got some wonderfully imaginative set design and a lot of crazy contraptions all over the place and macabre detail and a lot of subtle detail.
yeah, oh, yeah, yeah,
And some of the shots, I found myself wondering how the heck they did some of them.
yeah. Yeah, I don't know what the budget was on this movie.
Let's find out.
Probably, I would say probably mid to slightly on the high end. I mean, the movie did well enough that it got a sequel.
And a children's cartoon spinoff.
Yeah,
All right. No, I want. Oh, there's the Wikipedia article. Yeah, for really old movies like this, they tend to have the box office 30 million for 1991. Yeah, that's a pretty. Man, that actually is about the same budget that Blank Man got, and this was a much better result.
yeah. Wow. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's I think I might have liked it a little better than you did. Because you know the I think that you know the little macabre humor was, you know, I mean, it's you know, I mean,
Yeah.
I like it to an extent, yeah.
Oh yeah. And yes, it's just a different strokes thing. I'm sure a lot of people will find this delightful. Yeah, I think it is also kind of like macabre for like what a 1991 10-year-old could process as far as macabre humor.
Yeah.
Special effects wise, there was a few times of 90s green screen that were kind of noticeable,
Yeah. Yeah.
like in the climax, and also with the hand there thing.
Yeah. Yeah, there were a couple of yeah, they were definitely using like a little early CGI, which was very rough.
Yeah, like what I noticed was what I'm guessing is that they probably had the guy who was the hand model in like a green suit, and they
Mm,
filmed that on a green screen and then composited it in.
yeah.
It's like you could
Yeah.
occasionally see some like edge of it, especially in the opening scene where they made the mistake of having sunlight directly over it at a couple of points.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then what they would also do, like have the hand walk along like a spider, is they also had some times where they like would increase the frame rate to I guess to cover up some of the motion.
Yeah, like the part where it's delivering FedEx packages.
Right.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, that was a section of the movie where it's like, okay, are we just doing product placement now?
Yeah, yeah. They had the Tombstone Pizza and the
Yeah.
billboard in the background, and Sally Jesse Raphael making a cameo.
Yeah, that was interesting. But overall, perfectly serviceable dark kids movie.
Mm.
Wasn't to my liking, but I can say that objectively, it's like they were just going for a thing that I didn't expect, or I didn't enjoy as much as I was expecting.
Yeah, yeah.
I
I
was
hear
more
you.
of a Munsters guy anyway.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I probably was when I was a real little kid. Yeah, I was definitely more Munsters than Adams Family.
Right, which is funny because it's basically the same joke and just like a big Addams Family ripoff.
Yeah,
Um, but like I don't know, it had a different sense of humor. Like it felt like it had more going on than just the reversal. But that I probably would watch it now and go, yeah. I can definitely say they tried for a Munsters TV movie around the same time that this blew up. This
oh
is
yeah,
so much better than that stupid thing.
oh yeah, yeah,
That was a piece of crap.
yeah. And I'm sure, and I haven't seen it, but I'm sure this movie is a lot better than Rob Zombie's Munsters movie that came out a couple years ago.
Rob Zombie made a Munsters movie.
Yes, he did. Yeah,
The fact that I haven't heard of it probably tells me a whole lot about its relative quality.
yeah. I believe his wife played Mrs. Munster.
Oh, really? Yeah, imagine my shock.
Yeah,
Nepotism in Hollywood?
yeah,
Gasp.
yeah.
Well, I think that's everything for today. Thanks for
Yes,
everybody for tuning in for a rather long show.
yes.